White Lotus in Sicily.
La dolce vita.
My first question is obvious. How amazing is being the White Lotus?
Pretty awesome.
Very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely sort of a once in a lifetime thing.
As Megan was saying before, you know, when the audition came round, it was a no-brainer. But the idea of actually being in it was, it was very, very unlikely. So it felt pretty surreal when we were doing it.
Were you fans from the first season before?
Yeah.
Yeah, huge fan.
Absolutely.
Loved it. Yeah, loved that. That's it. Genuinely.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. It's so fun. Obviously, the first season was incredible. So it's just, it feels really, really fun to be a part of the family, the White Lotus family.
And well, how it's different from the first season? Because I've already watched the first 4 episodes and I have seen a lot of different things.
I think it's possibly darker in tone, and I guess the location informs the feeling of the series, and it being set in Sicily, this maybe just naturally gives it like a different flavor somehow. I guess its focus is more on sort of sexual politics, the nature of relationships, and infidelity.
It has the same DNA, but the themes are very different. You know, it's about sexual politics, gender roles, sex, and how that pertains to love and marriage, and our general perceptions of what happiness in relationships should or shouldn't be. You know, and that's what Mike's good at, making you question your own instinctual or conformist values to certain things.
To ask you about this thing that you said about sex politics, because I think it talks really well about how men treat women, how women treat men, and how they construct their relations. So I would like to know, how did you work on that, and how was your perspective about that when you read the script?
That's a good question.
Mike's writing is so nuanced and subtle, and I think he writes relationships and kind of deals with these kinds of topics really, really well, because he's all about the gray area. You know, he's not about black and white, right or wrong. He's about that middle area, which I think is the most kind of real zone that you can be in when you're talking about relationships and sex and love. It's like he's all about kind of questioning, you know, what's really okay, or what's, you know, and just kind of exploring those things. So
I think in terms of, were we expecting it to be what it was? I didn't have any expectations really, but one thing I feel like I found is Mike is also very good in the edit, and even seeing the episodes, it's different from what I had imagined it to be, you know, but he has a very specific idea in mind, but, you know, a lot of that is Mike's world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I didn't really have any expectations going into it, because the first season really took me by surprise. I sort of didn't even really know what I was, you know, looking at until, you know, episode 3 or 4. And I think that is true maybe for the second season as well. Like the first couple of episodes are amazing, and then 3 and 4 really like turn the whole thing on its head, I think, which is a really effective sort of thing that Mike does. And so I think, because of that, I was sort of wide open and I had no idea what to expect.
And well, about your characters, they are a couple, but they are also this kind of character of the White Lotus, who is very rich, lives in kind of a bubble, and does a lot of crazy things, and it doesn't matter what the cost. So I would like to know if you think that these kind of people are corrupted by money and power, or are they like that but by nature, and power and money are just tools for them?
I think money and corrupts, unfortunately, and that's one of Mike's commentaries is that money doesn't breed happiness. I mean, all of the characters come from hyperprivilege and money, but none of them are happy, really. I mean, they're rarely fully redeeming. I mean, Albie, Adam's character, is probably the closest, and your character, to kind of being fully actualized people that you might empathize with, but they're not fully happy themselves. So yeah, I think the theme is that money is a kind of dark force in the wrong hands.
Can money and power corrupt people?
Yeah.
Or is it vice versa? I don't know. It's probably a bit of both. I can imagine it like, I mean, the show is definitely asking you that question. Like, do you think power and money can corrupt? For example, someone like Ethan, who seems so submissive, so kind of gentle, I guess, at the beginning. But I don't know, like, I guess like there are people who achieve power and are corrupt, you know, and probably there are also people who are powerful and then become corrupt. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And what's your opinion about that?
Is that a weird answer?
Wait, what?
Is that a weird answer?
I love your answer. You know, I just think it depends on people's parents, you know, it really depends on the person. You get power and money if you're a grounded, you know, person that has their, you know, head on straight, then maybe you can handle it. But a lot of people can't. A lot of times power and money just goes to people's heads, and they turn into the worst versions of themselves. But some people turn into the best versions of themselves. So I think it really just depends on how much work one has done on themselves, and if they can handle it or not.
Now I want to ask you about your characters, because they are a couple, but they are pretty normal compared to some of the other guys, some of their friends. So how do they fit in this strange, really rich world that is the White Lotus?
Well, I guess they're new to that world because they've only recently come into that amount of money. So maybe part of them is also asking themselves that question that you just asked us. And you're like, how does this make sense for us to be here? Why does this other couple who are so different to us want us here with them? And there's that scene, you know, early on in the series where Harper's like, maybe like we're just their diverse friends. We're just here almost to be like paraded as their interesting liberal, you know, mates who look different to them. There's also like the theory that she has that maybe it's just like because now Ethan is successful that Cameron wants to get something out of him business-wise. So I think it's a good question, and it's something that I guess we felt our way through as we shot it with Mike. But I think they don't know either. Like they don't know how they feel.
You were talking about Aubrey's character. Also, your characters are like a contrast between hers and Will's ones. So what can we expect about this relation, friendship, and everything?
What can we expect?
Do you think that do you think you want to be Aubrey's friend? Not Aubrey. What's her name? It was Harper's friend. Do you think that's a genuine? Does she want to be her friend, or is it just? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know if I really know.
Yeah,
I think there are, you know, hints towards that being a genuine pursuit of Daphne's, but at the end of the day, I'm actually not really quite sure, because I think at first she feels really excited to connect with these new people, and you know, she really wants that. But also there's this weird thing I think with Cameron and Daphne where they're a little bit in their own world together, because even the conflict between them is about their relationship. Like the things that they do to each other are sort of for each other, you know? So it's this very sort of wrapped up kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay, they are telling me that it's a wrap. I would love to ask you a lot of things, but congratulations, because I'm enjoying it a lot. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Italy's just so romantic. You're gonna die. They're gonna have to drag you out of here.